Night presses down on the city like a wet coat. Streetlights buzz, casting shaky halos on puddles that reflect 1,000 tiny moons. A small figure moves through the drizzle, Ari, 12 or maybe 13, her coat 2 sizes too big, hood drawn tight against the chill. She keeps her hands inside the sleeves as she passes the back door of a diner. Steam leaks from the vent, carrying the smell of fries and onions. Her stomach growls loud enough that she glances around, embarrassed even though no one is there to hear it. Beside the dumpster sits a small takeout box the cooks have tossed. Ari crouches, checks inside, one half-eaten sandwich. She smiles faintly, wipes the bread with the edge of her sleeve, and wraps it in a napkin she's been saving in her pocket. It's her meal for the night. She slips out to the sidewalk again, the sound of shoes splashing in shallow water. A passing couple crosses to the other side without looking at her. At the corner bench near a closed bus stop, she sees movement, or rather, collapse. An elderly woman in a faded coat slides slowly to the ground, her shopping bag spilling apples that roll toward the gutter. Ari freezes for half a heartbeat. Then instinct takes over. She runs across the street, nearly slipping on the wet asphalt. "Ma'am," she calls, kneeling beside the woman. Hey, are you okay?" The woman's eyes flutter open, cloudy, unfocused. Her lips tremble, but no sound comes out. Ari touches her cheek. Cold as rainwater. "You're freezing," Ari whispers. She looks around for help, but the street is nearly empty. A car speeds by, tires hissing through puddles. She pulls the small sandwich from her pocket. "Here. Eat a little, okay? You need something." The woman doesn't respond at first, so Ari tears the sandwich in half, lifting a piece gently toward her mouth. "Come on, just a bite. It's not much, but it's fresh." The woman chews weakly, eyes flicking to Ari's face. "Thank you," she murmurs, voice paper thin. Ari smiles, relieved. "Don't thank me. You do the same." The woman's head lolls, Ari panics. "Hey. Stay with me, all right?" She taps her cheek lightly. "Don't sleep yet." The woman's breathing rasps, shallow. Ari pulls off her own threadbare blanket from her backpack and wraps it around her shoulders. Rain begins to fall harder now, drops drumming on metal bus stop panels. Ari shouts toward the diner door, "Somebody. Please. I need help." No answer, just the slam of dishes behind the glass. A passing driver slows, horn blaring once, then speeds off again. Ari clenches her jaw. "Fine, I'll do it myself." She fumbles for the plastic bottle in her bag, only a few sips left, and lifts it to the woman's lips. The woman swallows, whispers, "You're an angel." Ari laughs softly. "Nah. Just hungry like you." Another spasm of coughing from the woman. Ari looks up, the flicker of red and blue lights reflecting on wet concrete. "Hold on, ma'am. Someone's coming, okay?" The distant wail of sirens grows louder. Ari waves both arms as the ambulance rounds the corner. The headlights flare across her face, rain-slick, worried, exhausted. When the paramedics jump out, she steps back quickly. She fell over. I think she was cold. They move fast, checking pulse, oxygen. One of them glances at Ari. "Are you family?" Ari shakes her head. "No, I just found her." The medic nods, half distracted. "You did good, kid. She's breathing." Relief floods her. She tugs her hood tighter to hide the tears mixing with rain. As they lift the woman onto the stretcher, something slips from the old woman's pocket, a silver locket. Ari picks it up automatically, staring at the tiny photograph inside, a younger version of the same woman standing beside a well-dressed man and a teenage boy. She closes it carefully and places it on the stretcher beside her. The medic thanks her again before climbing into the ambulance. Doors slam. Lights flash. Ari stands there as the vehicle pulls away, the sound fading into the night. The bench, the blanket, the rain, all silent witnesses. She looks down at the soggy half of her sandwich still in her hand. She could finish it now, but the sight of the empty bench takes her appetite away. She whispers to no one, "Please let her be okay." Then she slips into the alley, vanishing into the dark like a shadow swallowed by the city. The storm has passed. Morning light spills across the skyline, painting glass towers in gold. High above the streets Ari slept on, another world wakes. Inside a penthouse of polished stone and silent wealth, Victor Hale, early 50s, stares into the mirror. His suit jacket hangs perfectly, the man wearing it feels anything but. He adjusts his cufflinks, eyes red-rimmed from another sleepless night. Behind him, a nurse hovers near the door. "Mr. Hale, your mother's caregiver says she didn't come home last night." Victor turns slowly. "What do you mean didn't come home?" "She left her residence after dinner and never returned. The driver thought she'd gone for a walk." Victor exhales through his nose, anger measured and quiet. "And you're just telling me this now?" He grabs his phone, pacing toward the window that looks down over the endless city. Security. Find Mrs. Eleanor Hale's car location. Now. The smell of disinfectant and coffee lingers. Victor strides through the automatic doors, shoes striking marble like a metronome. A nurse recognizes him instantly, everyone does, and gestures toward a private room. "She was brought in around midnight," the nurse says. "Found near 5th Street bus stop. Hypothermic, malnourished. Whoever called the ambulance probably saved her life." Victor stops. "Who called it?" "We don't have a name, sir. Just, a minor female, by witness reports. Maybe homeless." His jaw tightens. "A runaway?" "Could be." He says nothing, just pushes through the door. Eleanor Hale lies pale beneath hospital sheets. An oxygen line threads beneath her nose. Victor sits beside her, the noise of the machines louder than his thoughts. He takes her hand. "Mother, what were you doing there?" Her fingers twitch but don't respond. Victor looks at the monitors, the numbers steady, alien. He stands abruptly, motioning to the attending physician. "Get me the street footage from that area." "Sir, it might take." "Now," he snaps, then forces his tone lower. "Please. I need to know who was near her." A grainy black and white video plays. Rain. Streetlight. A small hooded figure kneeling beside Eleanor, wrapping something around her shoulders. Victor leans closer. "Freeze it." The guard pauses the frame, the girl's face half hidden by the hood. Victor squints. "She's taking something from my mother's bag." "Looks like she's checking for ID," the guard offers. Victor straightens. "Or stealing it." The guard shrugs. "Could be either, sir. Send this clip to my assistant. I want her identified." He turns, leaving before the guard can say another word. Ari wanders past the same diner, holding an empty paper cup. She's collecting coins, humming softly to keep her courage up. In her pocket, she still carries the hospital bracelet she found by the bench, Eleanor Hale. She intends to return it, once she figures out where. Across the street, a black car slows. Victor sits inside, watching her through tinted glass. "That's her," he says to his driver. "The one from the footage." The driver glances back. She looks like a kid. Victor's gaze stays hard. Appearances deceive. He steps out of the car, raincoat flaring like armor. Ari freezes when the tall man approaches. His shoes shine like mirrors, her reflection looks tiny in them. "Are you Ari?" he demands. She blinks. Who?" "The girl from last night. The one near an elderly woman." "My mother." Oh, she says softly. Is she okay? He ignores the question. You were seen going through her things. I was looking for her name. So I could tell. Don't lie to me. His voice slices through traffic noise. Did you take anything? Ari shakes her head quickly. No, sir. I just. He holds up his hand. Save the story. I've heard every angle of pity in this city. Passers-by slow, sensing conflict. A woman with groceries watches, frowning. Ari steps back, clutching the bracelet in her pocket. I didn't do anything wrong, she whispers. Victor sighs, exasperated. Security will confirm that soon enough. He turns to leave, then hesitates. If you did take something, return it. Quietly. I might forget this happened. He walks away, phone already at his ear. The black car door closes behind him. Ari stands still as the drizzle begins again, eyes burning. She opens her hand, the hospital bracelet gleams faintly in her palm. She whispers, I was just trying to help. Eleanor stirs. Her eyes open, unfocused. Where's the little girl? The nurse smiles. What girl, ma'am? The one who stayed with me, she had such kind eyes. Victor, entering the room, hears it. He freezes. What did you say? Eleanor turns her head weakly. The girl who shared her food. Victor blinks. Food? Mother, there was no one. But she's already drifting back to sleep. He sits down slowly, guilt beginning to edge past anger. The skyline glows outside the glass wall. Rain taps faintly against it. Victor replays the video clip on his tablet. The same girl, same movement, but now, watching her through his mother's words, the frame looks different. He slows the footage. Ari's hand doesn't search the purse, it covers the old woman's chest with her own blanket. He realizes he mistook the motion entirely. The tablet slips slightly from his hand. He leans back, voice a whisper to himself. She gave her blanket. A knock at the door breaks the moment. His assistant enters. Sir. The media's asking for a statement about Mrs. Hale's health. Tell them she's resting, he says absently. Should I mention the Good Samaritan who called the ambulance? Victor looks up. No. Not until I find her. Ari huddles under the bridge again, wrapping herself in the thin sweater she still has left. She unwraps the remaining crust of bread from the sandwich, damp now, and eats slowly. Rainwater drips through cracks above, one drop at a time. She whispers to herself, half asleep, maybe the lady's better now. Maybe she got home safe. Somewhere across town, Victor sits in silence, staring at the paused image of the girl who saved his mother and realizing, for the first time, that wealth can't buy the right heart. The next morning the hospital hums with routine, nurses exchanging charts, carts squeaking across tile. Ari stands near the entrance, soaked from rain, clutching a paper bag. Inside, a folded blanket she recovered from the bench, freshly dried at a shelter's laundry room. She wants to return it. She approaches the reception desk. Excuse me, ma'am. I'm looking for a lady named Eleanor Hale. I found her last night. The receptionist's smile freezes when she recognizes the surname. Mrs. Hale. She's in a restricted ward. Family only. I just need to give back her blanket. I'm sorry, honey. You'll have to leave that with security. Ari nods, disappointed. She's turning to go when a ripple moves through the lobby, two security guards rush toward the elevator. Cameras flash outside. Whispers, the billionaire's here. Victor Hale steps through the sliding doors, surrounded by aides. The polished marble reflects his image like a second, colder self. Ari's eyes widen. She recognizes him from last night, the angry man. Before she can slip away, one guard spots her. That's the kid Mr. Hale wanted questioned. Victor's gaze locks on her. You again. Ari clutches the paper bag tighter. I brought her blanket back. Reporters angle their lenses, phones rise like a wall of judgment. Victor's tone sharpens. You've been hanging around this hospital for 2 days. Looking for what? Attention? Money? No, sir. He gestures to the guards. Search her bag. Gasps ripple through the small crowd. A nurse protests softly, Sir, she's just a child. Then she has nothing to hide, Victor replies. Ari freezes as one guard opens the bag, finding only the folded blanket and the half-empty water bottle. The room goes quiet. Victor clears his throat. Return it to me. The guard holds out the blanket. Ari blurts, it's hers. I kept it warm for her. Her voice cracks, echoing in the sterile lobby. Cameras catch every word. Victor's expression falters, but pride steadies it again. Thank you. That'll be all. He turns away, but the damage is done. People are whispering now, not about Ari, but about him. A nurse crouches beside her. Sweetheart, maybe wait outside, okay? Ari nods numbly, blinking fast to keep tears from spilling. She walks toward the doors as flashes pop behind her like tiny explosions. Rain begins again, fine and cold. Ari sits on the bottom step, staring at the puddles. Reporters hurry past, chasing Victor's next statement. She hears snippets. No comment on the girl. Family privacy. She pulls the cardboard scrap from her pocket, the note she wrote earlier, I hope the old lady gets better. She tucks it under the blanket still clutched in her hands. Here, a nurse says quietly, appearing beside her. Take this. Ari looks up, the woman offers a paper cup of hot tea. Thank you, Ari whispers. You did a good thing, kid. Don't let rich people make you doubt it. Ari manages a small smile. He thinks I'm a thief. Sometimes people see what scares them most, the nurse replies, then heads back inside. Ari stays until the tea cools. Then she leaves the blanket at the security counter with a note pinned to it, for Mrs. Hale. Tell her I'm glad she's okay. Victor faces a semicircle of microphones. Flashbulb strobe. Mr. Hale, is it true a homeless girl found your mother? He adjusts his tie. The details are still unclear. My mother is recovering well. That's all that matters. Another reporter, is the girl being investigated? Victor's jaw tightens. Let's not sensationalize this. The authorities will confirm the facts. The questions blur into noise. His assistant leans in, whispering, Sir, public sentiment online favors the girl. Victor exhales. It'll fade. But later, alone in the car, he scrolls through headlines on his phone. Billionaire scolds young Samaritan. Girl who saved his mother asked to leave hospital. He locks the screen, jaw clenching. Outside, the city races by in streaks of neon. Ari helps serve soup from a large steel pot. The older volunteers smile at her. She moves carefully, ladling evenly so everyone gets enough. Someone at the end of the line whispers, Aren't you that girl from the news? Ari hesitates, then nods once. Maybe. You're famous now, another jokes. Hope it brings you something good. Ari's smile fades. Fame doesn't feed anyone. She returns to work. The camera lingers on her small hands, steady despite everything. Eleanor wakes again, stronger this time. She sees the folded blanket on her chair, note attached. She reads aloud softly, Tell her I'm glad she's okay. Her eyes fill. Victor, she calls. He steps forward. She came back, Eleanor says. The little one. She brought this. Victor lowers his gaze. I know. Did you thank her? He hesitates. I handled it. Eleanor shakes her head weakly. You handled a blessing like a business meeting. Her words cut deeper than any headline. He sits parked outside the shelter he tracked down through security footage. Through the rain-blurred windshield, he sees Ari stacking chairs, wiping tables, smiling at the other volunteers. He wants to step out, to apologize, but pride holds him like a chain. His phone buzzes, another call about the foundation gala. He lets it ring out. For a long moment, he watches the girl laugh at something an old man says. Then he whispers to himself, she looks like someone Mom would have painted. He starts the car and drives off into the night. Night folds over the city again. The rain has stopped, but the streets still shine like rivers of glass. Beneath an overpass, Ari sits cross-legged beside a small candle stub she rescued from the shelter trash. The tiny flame trembles each time the wind breathes. Around her, the world sleeps, trucks hum in the distance, rats rustle near bins, the faint echo of a siren fades somewhere uptown. Ari pulls a piece of torn cardboard from her backpack, the back of a cereal box, and begins to write with the stub of a pencil. She presses hard so the words will show through the damp fibers. Dear Miss Eleanor. I don't know if you remember me. I'm the girl who gave you my sandwich that night. I'm sorry if I scared your son. I just wanted to help. I'm glad you're better. I'll be okay too. Ari. She stares at the note, lips moving as if rehearsing it to herself. Then she folds it carefully and tucks it into her pocket. Beside her sits an empty paper cup and the thin blanket she tried to return earlier. It smells faintly of hospital soap now. She pulls it over her shoulders, leans her head against the cold concrete wall, and whispers. Maybe tomorrow, things get easier. Her stomach growls softly, but she ignores it. The candle burns lower, a single point of light against the city's indifferent dark. Victor Hale stands alone in his office, sleeves rolled up, tie loosened. The glow of the skyline outlines him, a man surrounded by everything, yet uneasy in it. On his desk, the morning's newspaper headline stares back. Billionaire scolds girl who saved his mother. He exhales, setting it aside. Picks up his phone. Scrolls past a flood of messages, PR statements, donation suggestions, offers to repair the optics. He silences it and turns to the window. Reflected in the glass is his own weary face, and behind that reflection, the framed portrait of his mother holding a young Victor, no older than Ari. Her smile in the photo looks softer than he remembers. He whispers to the empty room. She would have given away the whole kitchen if someone was hungry. He closes his eyes, rubs his forehead. And I called that girl a thief. A knock breaks the silence. It's his housekeeper, Maria, holding a tray of tea. You should rest, sir, she says gently. Your mother's stronger today. He nods, distracted. Maria, what do you think of people who have nothing, but still share? She smiles faintly. I think they have more than they realize. She leaves the tea and exits. Victor stares at the cup, steam rising like something holy. The candle has burned out. Ari stirs awake, startled by a noise, a figure moving near the bridge entrance. It's an old man she knows from the shelter, Mr. Ray, pushing a shopping cart full of cans. He grins when he sees her. Didn't mean to scare you, kiddo. Cold night. Ari relaxes. It's okay. You want some blanket? He chuckles. Nah, keep it. You'll need it more than me. They sit for a while, listening to the city breathing above them. Mr. Ray says, you looked sad on the news. They didn't tell your side, huh? Ari shakes her head. Doesn't matter. I know what happened. Still, he says softly, truth has a funny way of coming home. She looks up. You really think people see the truth? He shrugs. Sometimes it takes a little longer for rich folks to get their eyes fixed. They both laugh quietly. When he leaves, Ari feels lighter. She pulls the note from her pocket one last time, reading it under the dim light. Then she tucks it into a plastic bag to keep it dry. Tomorrow, she murmurs, I'll drop it at the hospital front desk. Eleanor Hale wakes again, stronger than before. Her nurse brings her tea. She gazes at the rain streaks on the window, remembering the small face from that night, the girl who stayed in the storm when no one else did. I can still feel her hand, Eleanor says softly. So gentle. The nurse smiles. She must have cared about you. Eleanor nods, lost in thought. She reminded me of someone I used to be. He's a young boy, maybe 8, watching his mother kneel to give soup to a man outside their old bakery. She tells him, never ignore a hungry face, Victor. Not when you can feed it. He watches her laugh with the stranger, her kindness effortless. Back to present, Victor stares at the same scene in memory until it hurts. He whispers to himself. I forgot everything she taught me. The city sky starts to lighten. The first bus rumbles overhead, shaking dust from the ceiling. Ari stands, folding the blanket neatly into her bag. She slips the plastic-covered note inside the pocket of her coat. The faint glow of sunrise catches the edge of her hair as she steps onto the sidewalk. She doesn't see the black car parked half a block away. Victor inside, engine idling. He's been there for hours, unable to sleep, tracing every shelter and bridge near 5th Street until he found her. He watches her silhouette against the dawn, the same small figure from the security footage, but now, in the soft light, she doesn't look like a trespasser or thief. She looks like a person who still believes in good things. Victor grips the steering wheel, guilt twisting inside him. I was wrong, he says aloud, voice breaking just enough to sound human again. She walks toward the hospital, holding the note close to her chest, unaware that the man she's about to forgive is already following her path, one step behind. The rain has finally lifted, leaving puddles that shimmer like mirrors across the cracked pavement. Volunteers unload boxes of donated food from a van. Steam rises from pots in the shelter kitchen, carrying the warm scent of stew and bread. Ari stands among them, hair tucked under a borrowed cap, sleeves rolled up as she ladles soup into bowls. She's not here for recognition, she's here because it feels good to give again. Each person she serves gets the same small smile and the same gentle words. Eat slow. It's hot. You deserve it. A volunteer beside her laughs lightly. You're a natural, kid. Maybe you should run this place one day. Ari grins. Maybe when I grow up. Outside the shelter window, a black car idles across the street. Victor Hale watches silently from the driver's seat. The sight of the girl serving food to strangers stirs something deep in him, a memory, a reflection, maybe even envy. His mother's words echo in his mind, you judged her because you forgot where we came from. He adjusts his tie, hesitating. For once, no security, no entourage. Just a man trying to make sense of his own failures. He finally steps out. Victor enters quietly. The chatter fades a little when people recognize him, wealth like his doesn't usually walk these halls. The head volunteer, Pastor Miller, greets him at the door. Mr. Hale, we're honored to have you here. Are you donating again this year? Victor forces a polite smile. Actually, I'm looking for someone. His eyes sweep the room until they stop on Ari, hair messy under her cap, laughter soft as she serves an elderly woman a bowl of soup. For a moment, time folds, he sees his mother in the girl's kindness. Ari looks up, and their eyes meet. The ladle slips from her hand, clattering into the pot. She freezes. He takes a step forward, hands raised slightly, unsure whether to speak or leave. Ari whispers, you followed me? Victor clears his throat. I wanted to talk. The volunteer beside her eyes him suspiciously. Everything all right here, Ari? She nods. Yeah. I think so. Victor motions toward the exit. Could we step outside for a moment? She hesitates, then sets the ladle down and follows. The alley smells faintly of soap and rain. Laundry flaps on a line between buildings. Ari stands with her arms crossed, the distance between them heavy with memory. Victor speaks first. You left something at the hospital. A note for my mother. Ari's eyes widen. She got it? He nods. She did. She asked about you every day since she woke up. A small smile flickers on Ari's lips. I'm glad she's okay. She is, Victor says quietly. Thanks to you. Silence. The words hang between them like fragile glass. Ari looks down. You didn't believe me before. I didn't, he admits. I saw what I wanted to see. She studies him for a moment. People don't usually say that. He chuckles weakly. I'm not used to being wrong. The tension softens slightly, but her guard remains. A delivery truck passes by, its horn blaring, scattering pigeons from the alley. Victor takes a small envelope from his pocket. My mother wanted me to give you this. It's just a thank you letter. She insisted. Ari hesitates, then accepts it, fingertips barely brushing his. Thank her for me, she says softly. She'd rather hear it from you, he replies. She shakes her head. People like me don't get invited to places like yours. Victor's expression darkens with guilt. That's exactly the problem. Ari returns to her station. She slips the envelope into her pocket, returning to ladling soup like nothing happened. But her hands tremble slightly. Victor watches from the doorway, conflicted. He notices how she gives away the best portions, always refilling someone else's bowl before her own. He turns to Pastor Miller. She works here. The pastor nods. Volunteers whenever she can. She's got heart. Reminds me of my daughter. Victor glances at the half-empty donation bin near the door. You're short on supplies. Always, the pastor says. But God provides. Victor quietly opens his wallet and slips a few bills into the bin. Not enough to draw attention, just enough to do good without being seen. He starts to leave, but pauses to watch Ari one more time. She's laughing with an old woman, tucking a napkin under her chin so she doesn't spill. It's the same gentle motion his mother used to make for him as a boy. He whispers under his breath, how did I miss this before? As the day winds down, Ari steps outside with her backpack, wiping her hands on her jeans. She looks both ways before crossing the street, and spots Victor waiting by his car again. She sighs. You really don't give up, huh? He smiles faintly. Guilty. Why are you here? To understand you, he says. To thank you properly. You already did. Not enough. Ari looks down at the cracked sidewalk. You don't owe me anything. He nods. You're right. I owe you everything. The sincerity in his voice surprises her. A long pause, then he asks quietly, where do you sleep, Ari? She stiffens. Why? He raises his hands. Not what you think. Just, you shouldn't have to sleep outside. She shrugs. It's not so bad. The city's loud, but it sings me to sleep. Her resilience hits him harder than pity ever could. Eleanor Hale sits by the window, sketching in a notepad. The blanket Ari returned lies folded at her feet. She hums softly, smiling. When Victor enters, she looks up. Did you find her? He nods. Yes. She's volunteering at a shelter. Eleanor's eyes glimmer. She's special, isn't she? Victor smiles faintly. She's more human than I've been in years. Eleanor reaches for his hand. Then maybe it's time to act like her. He squeezes her hand gently, a silent promise. The sky bleeds orange and gold. Ari walks down the block, backpack slung over her shoulder. She stops at a bakery window, watching families laugh over pastries she can't afford. Her reflection stares back, tired but hopeful. Behind her, Victor watches from a distance before driving away. The wheels splash through puddles that reflect the same setting sun. Two lives, still divided by distance, yet drawn together again by grace and guilt. The wind pushes curtains of rain down the avenue. Headlights cut through mist. Ari walks along the sidewalk, clutching her backpack, hood pulled low. She's heading toward the bridge where she usually sleeps. Her shoes splash through puddles. The envelope from Eleanor is still tucked inside her coat. Behind her, a familiar car slows. Headlights flash once. Then twice. She stops, heart tightening. Turns around. Victor Hale steps out, rain soaking through his coat in seconds. He's not here as a billionaire tonight, he's just a man haunted by his conscience. Ari calls out over the rain, "You following me again?" Victor shakes his head. "Not to chase you. To fix something I broke." She eyes him warily. "It's late." "I know," he says. "But I needed to see you. To tell you something face to face." Ari exhales, tired. "What could you possibly say now?" Victor steps closer, hands open, rain dripping from his sleeves. "When I saw you on that footage," he begins, "I thought you were hurting my mother. I thought you were stealing." He looks down, ashamed. "But when she woke up, she told me about a girl who shared her food. A girl who stayed until the ambulance came. A girl who prayed for her." Ari doesn't answer. Her jaw tightens. He continues, voice trembling. "That girl was you. And she saved my mother's life." The rain softens, as if the storm itself is listening. Ari swallows. "You didn't believe her at first, did you?" Victor shakes his head. "I wanted proof. I went back to the security footage. Slowed it down. Frame by frame." He meets her eyes. "I saw the truth, you weren't reaching into her purse. You were putting your blanket over her." He steps closer. "You gave her the only thing keeping you warm." Ari blinks hard, looking away. Victor takes a deep breath. "The doctor told me something else. Said the warmth from that blanket and the food you gave her, probably saved her life before the paramedics got there." He lets the words hang. "You saved my mother, Ari. You saved the only person I have left." Ari stands still, the rain soaking both of them. "I didn't do it for you." "I know," he says quietly. "That's what makes it mean more." Ari finally asks, "So what now? You come to say sorry?" "Yes," Victor answers simply. "And thank you." He hesitates, then adds, "And maybe, to ask for a chance to make it right." Ari studies him for a long moment. "People like you don't say sorry. They just fix things with money." Victor's eyes glisten. "That's what I've always done. But money can't fix what I broke with you." A flicker of emotion passes over her face, surprise, disbelief, maybe hope. He continues, "You made me see something I forgot a long time ago. That compassion doesn't need a press release." She half smiles. "Your mother said that." He laughs softly. "She reminded me of it. You showed me." He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small pendant, the silver locket that fell from Eleanor's coat that night. Ari gasps. "You still have it." "She asked me to give it to you," Victor says. "She said anyone who carries that kind of kindness deserves something that reminds them they're not alone." He opens the locket, inside is a photo of Eleanor holding a baby Victor. Opposite it, a new photo, a sketch Eleanor drew of Ari from memory, smiling. Tears fill Ari's eyes. She brushes them away quickly. I can't take this. You already earned it, he says softly. And she insisted. A car drives by, splashing water. Neither of them moves. Finally, Ari whispers, you really think people can change? Victor looks up at the rain, then back at her. I think people remember who they were meant to be. That's what you did for me. Ari hugs her backpack tightly, thinking. Then, quietly, your mom's lucky. You still have her. Victor nods, voice breaking. I almost lost her because I couldn't see the goodness in someone else. I won't make that mistake again. The silence that follows isn't awkward, it's sacred. Then Ari opens her coat pocket and pulls out the folded letter she wrote before. I never got to give this to her, she says. Victor takes it gently. The ink is smudged from rain, but the words are still visible. He reads aloud, voice trembling. Dear Miss Eleanor. I don't know if you remember me. I just wanted to help. I'm glad you're better. I'll be okay too. He lowers the letter, blinking back tears. She cried when she read the first one, he says softly. I think she'll frame this one. Ari laughs quietly. She really doesn't have to. Victor folds the letter carefully and tucks it into his inside pocket. Some things deserve to be remembered properly. Victor looks at her, resolute now. You shouldn't be out here. There's room at our guest house until we find something better. My mother, she'd like to see you again. Ari shakes her head quickly. I'm fine here. He smiles gently. You keep saying that. But you don't have to be fine alone. She hesitates, half of her wants to refuse again, half wants to believe him. Finally she says, only if your mom wants me there. She's the one who asked, he replies. They walk together, quiet at first, then slowly side by side through the rain. Victor holds the umbrella over her, though half of his shoulder stays soaked. Ari looks up. You really don't have to. He glances down, smiling. I know. But I want to. Eleanor sits propped up on pillows when they arrive. The nurse looks surprised to see them both drenched and muddy, but Eleanor's face lights up. My angel, she whispers, reaching out as Ari steps closer. I told him you'd come back. Ari smiles shyly. I didn't mean to cause trouble. You brought me life, dear. That's never trouble. Victor stands back, watching them with quiet awe, the two people who taught him everything he'd forgotten about humanity, now sharing one room. Eleanor takes Ari's hands. You gave me warmth when the world felt cold. Now let us give some back to you. Ari can't speak. She just nods, eyes shimmering. Victor lowers his gaze, voice barely a whisper. Thank you, for saving her, and for saving me too. The sky outside the tall windows is pale gray, streaked with the last traces of dawn. Eleanor Hale sits awake in bed, sketchbook on her lap, pencil gliding gently across paper. The lines reveal a girl, small, brave, with eyes too old for her age. Across the room, Ari dozes in a chair. One of the nurses draped a warm shawl over her shoulders during the night. Her hands rest against a small cup of tea gone cold. Victor Hale stands in the doorway, watching them. The sight is disarming, his mother's frail smile, the girl's peace, the quiet stillness of Grace. It's a moment that feels like forgiveness in motion. He whispers to the nurse beside him, how long has she been here? Since midnight, the nurse says softly. She didn't want to leave until your mother woke up. Victor's chest tightens. He nods silently, stepping closer to the bed. Eleanor looks up from her sketch, eyes bright despite her weakness. She looks like an angel, doesn't she? Eleanor murmurs. Victor smiles faintly. An angel who doesn't even know it. Eleanor pats his hand. And maybe a mirror, too. He frowns. A mirror? She nods. You see yourself in her, Victor. That's why you can't stop watching her. She's who you were before the world taught you to count everything in numbers. Her words sink deep. Victor lowers his gaze. I don't even remember that boy anymore. Eleanor leans back against the pillow, voice soft. Then remember through her. The screen brightens with memory. A younger Eleanor stands behind the counter of a humble bakery, flour dusting her apron. A small boy, young Victor, maybe 10, balances on a stool, bagging loaves. Outside the window, rain pours down, much like the nights we've seen before. A soaked man shuffles past the glass, shivering. Eleanor's eyes soften. Hold the fort, sweetheart. She runs outside with a steaming loaf in her hands. The man hesitates, but she presses it into his palms with a smile. Victor watches from inside, confused. When she returns, dripping wet, he asks, "Why'd you give him our bread?" "He didn't pay." She laughs gently, brushing his hair back. "Some debts are paid differently, love. One day you'll understand." Cut back to present. Victor stands by the hospital window, that memory replaying like a confession. He whispers to himself, "You fed strangers, and I forgot how." Ari wakes with a start. The chair creaks as she straightens up. Eleanor smiles warmly. "Good morning, dear." "Sorry," Ari says, rubbing her eyes. "Didn't mean to fall asleep." "I'm glad you did." "You looked tired," Eleanor says. Then, turning toward Victor, "Why don't you take her to breakfast, She's had enough of hospital food." Victor hesitates, caught off guard. "Breakfast?" Eleanor chuckles. "Yes, you remember what that is, don't you? The meal you used to share with people, not just eat over meetings." He smiles. "Yes, ma'am." Ari stands, uncertain. "It's okay, Mrs. Hale. I can eat later." Eleanor's tone softens. "Child, when a mother tells you to eat, you listen." Ari laughs, a sound that brightens the sterile room. Victor can't help but smile. She's not wrong. The diner hums with chatter and clinking dishes. Sunlight glints off chrome counters. Ari sits across from Victor in a booth by the window, shoulders tense at first. He studies the menu. "What do you want?" "Anything." She hesitates. "Anything?" He nods. She glances around at the plates passing by. "Pancakes. With syrup." He smiles. "Good choice." As they wait, silence settles. Then Ari says softly, "I used to sit outside places like this. Smelled the food, tried to guess what it tasted like." Victor's fork pauses midair. "I'm sorry." "You don't have to be," she replies. "You didn't know me then." He leans forward. "That's the problem. I should have known people like you existed. Instead, I built walls high enough to never see you." She shrugs. "You see me now." He nods slowly. "Yes. I do." The waitress arrives with steaming pancakes and coffee. Ari's eyes light up as she digs in, syrup glistening on her fork. Victor watches her eat, not with pity, but admiration. There's dignity in her simplicity. Joy in her gratitude. "You remind me of my mother," he says softly. "She always believed kindness was stronger than wealth." Ari smiles through a mouthful. "She's right." He laughs. "You sound like her too." The car hums quietly. Ari watches the passing skyline. She asks, "What's it like, being rich?" Victor exhales, thinking. Loud. Busy. Sometimes lonely. You start to believe the world owes you something, until someone reminds you it doesn't. She looks at him sideways. "I did that?" He smiles. "You did. She nods slowly, then whispers, then maybe I did something right. Eleanor listens as Victor recounts the breakfast. She had pancakes, he says, smiling faintly. Said they were the best thing she's ever tasted. Eleanor beams. That's my girl. Victor sits beside her, his tone growing serious. Mother. I've been thinking. About everything. About how I turned your lessons into a business plan instead of a belief. Eleanor reaches for his hand. And now? He looks at Ari across the room, talking softly with a nurse. Now I want to build something different. Something that gives without expecting. Eleanor nods approvingly. That's the son I raised. Victor enters his study. The city glows below, lights flickering like embers. He opens a drawer and pulls out an old photograph, his parents standing in front of their bakery. He sets it beside a new photo, Eleanor and Ari, taken by a nurse earlier that day. Side by side, they tell a story, where it began, and where it's returning. Victor sits down, begins sketching notes on a pad titled, Project, the Eleanor Fund. Underneath, he writes. To support homeless youth and feed every hungry child in this city. He circles one line twice. Start with Ari. Ari looks at the locket Eleanor gave her. She opens it, the sketch of her face on one side, the photo of Victor and his mother on the other. She smiles faintly, whispering, Guess I've got a family picture now. She places it over her heart, closes her eyes, and drifts into peaceful sleep. Sunlight filters through gauze curtains, washing the room in gold. Eleanor sits in her wheelchair by the window, sketchbook open, pencil resting in her frail hands. She's drawing again, this time, two figures beneath a rainstorm, one giving, the other receiving. Victor stands behind her, adjusting his tie. He looks calm, but something inside him stirs. Mother, he says softly, are you sure you're ready for this? Eleanor smiles. I'm not the one who needs to be ready. She gestures toward the sketch. You are. Victor glances at the drawing and exhales. Then let's do it. The shelter bustles with volunteers unloading boxes of canned food and fresh produce. A small crowd gathers near a podium draped with a banner reading. The Eleanor Fund, nourishing hearts, not just bodies. Local reporters snap photos. Curious onlookers fill the street. Ari stands at the edge of the crowd, unsure why she's there. Pastor Miller invited her that morning, said there'd be something special. She watches from a distance, still wearing her old jacket, hair neatly tied. When she spots Victor and Eleanor arriving in a sleek but unpretentious car, her breath catches. Eleanor waves from her wheelchair, radiant. Victor helps her up the ramp toward the podium. Victor steps up to the microphone. Cameras click. He glances once at the crowd, then at Ari, her face half hidden behind a column. He clears his throat. Most of you know me as a businessman. Some of you, as the man who forgot what kindness looked like. The crowd murmurs. Victor continues, voice steady but humble. A few weeks ago, my mother nearly died. And when everyone else walked past her, one person stopped. A girl, homeless, hungry, and yet, selfless enough to share her only meal. A hush falls. He glances toward Ari, who fidgets, unsure if she should stay. I misjudged her. I accused her of things she never did. I let my pride speak louder than truth. And I'm here today to make that right. He steps away from the microphone and gestures toward the side entrance. Ari, could you come here, please? Gasps ripple through the room. All eyes turn as Ari freezes in place, stunned. Pastor Miller nods encouragingly. After a long moment, she steps forward, her small frame trembling under the weight of every gaze. Victor kneels as she approaches, his expensive suit pressed against the worn wooden floor. The entire room falls silent. I should have thanked you the first time we met, he says softly, voice trembling. But I was blind. And now I see clearly, because of you. He takes a small velvet box from his pocket and opens it, not jewelry, but a key on a ribbon. This isn't charity, he says. It's an invitation. The Eleanor Fund begins today, created in your honor, Ari. It will feed children, house them, give them the chance to dream again. And you'll help lead it. Ari stares at the key, unable to speak. Victor adds, smiling faintly, that's the key to our new youth center, 2 blocks from here. I want you to unlock it. The audience applauds softly, the sound growing like a wave. Tears glimmer in Ari's eyes. I don't know what to say. Eleanor speaks from her wheelchair. Say yes, dear. It's not a gift, it's a beginning. Ari nods slowly, voice breaking. Okay, yes. She takes the key with trembling fingers. Victor stands, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. Thank you, Ari, for teaching us what giving really means. The doors swing open. Sunlight floods the newly painted space, bright walls, bookshelves, long tables, a small kitchen already humming. Children from the neighborhood peek in, their laughter echoing. Ari stands at the threshold, still clutching the key. She turns to Victor and Eleanor, eyes wide. It's beautiful, she whispers. Victor smiles. It's yours to fill, with love, food, whatever you want it to be. She turns to Eleanor. Thank you for believing me. Eleanor reaches for her hand. Thank you for believing in the world. A reporter nearby asks, Mr. Hale, any words for the press? Victor shakes his head. Not today. Today belongs to her. He steps back, letting Ari take the spotlight. She hesitates, then speaks softly. I'm not used to talking in front of people, but I want to say thank you. For listening. For seeing me. She looks down at the children now gathering inside the room. When I was hungry, someone once shared their food with me. I didn't forget. Maybe that's how kindness works, it doesn't end, it keeps moving. The crowd applauds again, this time louder, warmer, deeper. Victor and Ari serving soup together at the shelter. Eleanor, painting a mural of hands passing a loaf of bread, the symbol of giving. Children lining up for meals, laughter bouncing off the walls. Ari, now with cleaner clothes and newfound confidence, teaching younger kids to read. Victor, watching her with pride, truly humbled for the first time. The montage fades with Eleanor's voiceover, soft and wise. The richest among us aren't those who have the most, but those who give without keeping score. The sun sets through tall windows. The room glows amber. Victor approaches Ari, who's stacking chairs. He says quietly, I used to think success was building towers. Turns out, it's building trust. Ari smiles. You're learning fast. He laughs gently. Good teacher. She looks toward the mural Eleanor is painting. She's happy. Victor nods. We all are. Fairy lights shimmer across the courtyard. Eleanor, in her wheelchair, watches children playing tag while Ari helps serve dinner under a canopy of lights. Victor stands beside his mother. You were right, he says. About what? About the mirror. She reminded me who I was. Eleanor squeezes his hand. Then don't forget again. He smiles, eyes glistening. Never. Golden sunlight spills through trees swaying gently in the breeze. The same park bench from the very beginning stands beneath a lamppost, no longer broken, no longer surrounded by litter. It's freshly painted, flowers blooming nearby. Children run across the grass, laughter echoing. A small community garden grows behind them, herbs, tomatoes, and bright marigolds. At the edge of it all, Ari, now in a clean school uniform and worn sneakers, helps a group of younger kids pack food baskets. Her face glows with quiet purpose. Pastor Miller calls from the kitchen door, Ari. We're short on sandwiches again. She grins. Then we'll make more. She grabs a loaf of bread and begins assembling sandwiches, passing them down the line of eager hands. For a moment, her gaze drifts to that same bench, where months ago she found Eleanor collapsed in the rain. Now, under bright daylight, a new plaque gleams on the backrest. One act of kindness can save a life, the Eleanor Fund. Ari brushes her fingers over the inscription, smiling softly. Inside, Victor stacks boxes labeled Eleanor Fund Outreach. His sleeves are rolled up, tie missing. He looks comfortable, human. Eleanor, sitting nearby with her sketchpad, glances up from a new painting she's working on. It's of Ari handing a sandwich to a stranger beneath a rain-soaked streetlight, the night everything changed. She holds it up. What do you think? Victor smiles. It's perfect. You captured her exactly. Eleanor chuckles. Not her. Us. He frowns playfully. Us. She nods. She gave, you learned, I watched. That's what family is, everyone teaching, everyone growing. Victor looks toward the window where Ari's laughter drifts in. Yeah, family. Lunchtime turns into a small neighborhood celebration. Long tables stretch across the yard, covered in food, flowers, and mismatched plates. Eleanor sits beneath a canopy of fairy lights, a shawl over her shoulders. Victor ladles soup for the children while Ari organizes plates. A young boy tugs on Ari's sleeve. Miss Ari, is it true you used to live under a bridge? Ari smiles gently. I did. But I never stopped dreaming of a better place. The boy nods thoughtfully. Then I'll dream too. Ari ruffles his hair. Good. That's where change starts. The crowd thins. Lights glow warm against the coming dusk. Ari walks to the park bench again, sitting quietly with the last sandwich in her hand. She tears it in half and sets one piece on the bench beside her, a silent offering, a symbol of where her journey began. Victor approaches, stopping a few feet away. Saving the world again, he teases. She laughs softly. Just feeding whoever shows up. He sits beside her. You've come a long way from that night. She nods. Feels like a lifetime ago. He glances at her profile, proud. The Eleanor Fund is only just starting. We'll need your ideas. Then you better listen, she replies with a grin. He laughs, shaking his head. I'm learning. They sit in comfortable silence, watching the sunset spill orange across the city skyline. Eleanor paints one last stroke on her canvas. The final version of her masterpiece. A small girl sharing bread under the rain, light shining faintly through clouds above her. She steps back, satisfied. Finished, she whispers. Beside her on the table lies a photo, her son, the little girl, and the community they built together. She closes her eyes, smiling in peace. The fairy lights shimmer above the center as laughter fades into calm. Victor locks up, turning to see Ari still sitting on the bench, gazing at the stars. He calls softly, time to head home. Ari stands, stretching. Yeah, home. The word feels new on her tongue, fragile and beautiful. Together, they walk back toward the glowing center, light spilling onto the street like an open door. As they disappear inside, the camera lingers on the empty bench, the plaque gleaming beneath the streetlight.